Hello everybody, I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. This is Steve and I'm coming back with another video for the Commodore 64 Basic Game Marathon, or Basic Marathon Game. Okay, so in this session, what I'm going to do before we begin here is just tell you about some of the things that's going on right now. Probably one of the bigger announcements I want to announce and I'm really excited about is I've already booked a hotel for VidCon this year. So if all goes well, I should be at VidCon, which is in Anaheim, California. And I'll give you a little bit more details about that soon here. So yeah, that's one of the great things. Also, another thing is I've got a store here, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to brand myself. So the store is not active yet, so I still have to order a few other things. I'm using a store service called Printful, and I actually have to order the right kind of color swatches in order to print my logos correctly. So you might have seen them on my store if you've been there, but that's going to come out soon. Okay, and other than that, let's get the game started here. As always, please, I appreciate your subscriptions. They are so important for helping me grow forward here. Oh, and I almost forgot one of the most other important things. There's actually, if you open up CBM Studio, there's actually a thing that's actually, let me pull that up here for a second to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I switched over to my desktop so I can explain what this is. You may have seen this if you've used CBM Studio. I have no idea why, but I never thought to even click on this link here. And you actually get a little surprise if you click on here. Who would have ever thought that somebody actually had created a book for this actual, compiler? So I've actually ordered the book. It's only about $22. Probably some of the techniques I already know, but there are some things in here that will be helpful to fill any gaps I may still have with the game design. Because as always, my goal is to eventually create full-fledged semi-language games, and this one comes complete with scrolling like a space shooter and a little side scroller. So that should prove interesting. But anyways, let's go forward to the main stuff here. Hi guys, I'm back here on the desktop. Believe it or not, I had to record this over again. For some reason, Camtasia Studio did not record all of my previous video. It cut out most of it. But it is what it is, so we're going forward again here. So this is the actual display screen, what it's going to look like when everything's working. I wanted to demonstrate that first. I'm going to need to break this down into segments, of course, but the only way I can really do this is work with the shell I have, because originally I was breaking the code down step by step to show you, but I've lost all that now since it never recorded. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward here. So here's the program listing, and I'll just go ahead and list it all there so you can take a look at it. Actually, I got the character set still turned on there. You'll see some character set showing up. Now if I type in these commands here, I can turn off the character set, and then this will turn off the multicolor altogether. So going back to that here, everything else will be consistent with how we've already been doing all of our videos. So we have our regular variables, the strength, dexterity, intelligence, skill, potions, knowledge, experience. And then moving forward here, we have the dimension statement. This is going to be for our map that we're going to create. And then we're going to have some values printed on the screen. This line 52 is setting the cursor to home, so it moves the cursor up here. And then it moves it down 3 lines like that, and then this moves it over so many lines to position the text over here. And that's a way to kind of move things around on the Commodore 64. So if you wanted to see that demonstrated, I'll show it to you here real quick. I'll just create a simple program to clear the screen, and then we'll set the home. And all you're doing is you're just pressing the home key and you get the home. And then we'll move down 3, and this maybe move over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and just say, hi from C64 brain or something like that, and then watch what it does. See how I positioned the text? It brought it all the way up here and moved it over, and it moved it down the number of lines it needed to. Okay, now line 60 is going to start with our ghost subs here, and line 9000 here, which is our first ghost sub, is just going to read in our data from disk. And this is to keep track of our statistics and our saved game data. The next one reads from 1000, goes of 1000 here. This starts off our screen here. This starts by putting a border on our screen and turning it to black, turning the screen to black. These right here are the multicolor characters. This is multicolor character. I have to look at it because I'm not going to be able to tell you off the top of my head. So 53,282 is background color 1, and then 53,283 is background color 2. And then we have poke 53,270, 200, and that's what takes care of the character set. By default, it's 200. And next, we're going to read in our data here. This is actually using a machine language subroutine to go ahead and move the character set. The reason why is because all the characters you're seeing here on the screen right now, these are stored in ROM, and they can't be overwritten unless you move them into RAM, which is random access memory, which allows you to write over them. Okay, so the next thing here we see is read A. If A equals -1, then return. So what this is essentially doing is reading in our character set data down here. And let me isolate those lines a minute to show you. Gotta get used to the weird keyboard. So read in A, and then we're going to go ahead and read in our data lines, which start at 2040 on. I think the 3000 would get it. Yeah, that's perfect. So this is reading in our screen data character set. Now the Commodore 64 stores all these character sets in an area called AXI, or pet AXI if you would, and you can pull these characters out, and if you know the values you can actually write to them. So that's all we're doing here is we're reading A. That means it's going to read the first line here. In this case it would read 0, and then it's going to read over from 0 to 7, so we count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's reading 7 values. To write these to this memory location 122 plus A, remember A is going to be, so it's going to really say, it's going to look like this if I had to write it out. 122.88 plus A, in this case it would just be 0, and then it says times 8, and then plus X. In this case we have X at 0, so we just say plus 0 right there. So it's actually going to start at obviously 122.88. But if you wanted to see it start at a different memory location, we'll just insert the next memory location here, which would be 31, and just proceed forward. And you'll see the next value in memory is 125.36, because if you take 125.36 minus 122.88, you get 248. Oops, I probably forgot to divide by 8. Yeah, because it's multiplying by 8. 536 minus 122.88 divided by 8. Hope I did that right. Yeah, so that should read the next value in memory, and it was reading 31 since we ran this earlier. So that accordingly looks at the correct, actually I don't know why it gave me 31. That's not reading a peak value, so I don't know. Well, that's strange. But anyways, I probably did something wrong there. So we'll just edit out this section. Okay, so we're going to continue on here. And the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to run this program, and we're going to clear the screen because you're going to see it already. It's already going to draw the characters on the screen, so I'm going to stop it once I see it drawing there, right there. And we're going to clear the screen so I can kind of play with this and show you how this works. Okay, so we're now reading directly from the character set. So if I set this back to immediate mode just to show you there, that's going to be the default character set, and you can't see anything until I turn the screen back on. Right there. So if I set and I shift like number, and then down here, we'll just make another number sign. I'm trying to position so it doesn't give any errors or anything. And then over here we're going to create $, like that. Oops, 2 only I need. And then we're going to create a percentage sign. And watch the magic that happens when I turn this on. If I can remember correctly, it's not that one. I think it's 7. No, it's not 7. I think it's 9. I think that should do it right there. And then somewhere over here, we'll create this one that looks like this. And again, if I remember correctly, I think it's the open one like that. And that should do it. Now we're going to go ahead and turn our values back on. First, we're going to turn on our multicolor here, which is 216. That'll turn it on fine. And then here, we're going to turn on the character set. Now watch what happens when I turn on the character set. You're going to see something change here. See? Instantly, we're looking at what's called multicolor characters. We could go ahead and change these colors. I just wanted to show you that's how it works, essentially. Up here, I'm going to turn on some multicolor characters for our tree. There's our green. See? Now we got little green trees, and down here, this would need to be blue, which I think is that one, yep. And then we can turn on our blue accordingly. And you can see, as I do that, it appears to be something like water. That's what it's supposed to be, is water. It may not be the best definition of water, but that's what I was trying to aim for, was water. See, so hopefully that makes sense here. And now also, if we turn this off, watch what happens when I turn this off. You'll see it goes to regular default characters, and this is called standard mode character set, which is going to access all the colors, but the only thing is it's not giving you the multicolors per character. It's only going to have one character color per character. You see this one's all green, and then this one's all kind of a red, and this is all blue. But of course, with the multicolor character, we get the fancier looking characters, which is what I like, of course. And this, by the way, all the way over on the end here, I didn't explain here. This is, right there. This is just a guy that was being drawn on the screen there. So you can see we've created pretty nice looking characters here. I think there might be some more characters in here. Let's just go ahead and play with some of those. I think this is one that's, that was supposed to be a story, but it didn't finish it. And then there's some more right here. This is supposed to be, it's supposed to be a rock or something. And then this one down here is, you can kind of see it's got a little sprawl. This is supposed to be kind of like gravel or something. And to get back to this here, I'll show you. I'm going to turn off this mode so we can see this a little bit better though, and kind of demonstrate here. So we're going to use a character, and we're going to change its data structure. So my cursor, poke 122.96, 255. Let's see if anything changes. Did you see what happened? The A was changing here. I'll put it up on the screen. We changed the A and we added a little line on it. And I'll show you step by step, and we'll kind of change it into something really strange here. Watch this. See how it's got like a curvy part to the A now? As we're changing it, we're going down the screen and we're just changing values inside of its memory. So I could set like a 24, for example. Or actually, wait, 248. So I need to change the next value, which is that one. And we could set this one to like 240 or something. See? We already got some weird looking shape already. As we're going down the screen, we're changing it. 200. And now I don't even know what that is. So if I type in the letter A here, that's what we're getting. Or if I set it to like a multicolor character and type A, it smells like a chair or something. Now, of course, after demonstrate that, I'll just go ahead and run the program to show you what it's doing. Is it's taking that character set and it's just driving those characters to the screen as it's finding them. This is actually read them out line by line. It does take a moment to draw it. You know, just kind of a demonstration of what it does. You know, just example you saw on the title screen. So it's reading in, you know, the values here on this area. You see the dexterity, intelligence, skill, knowledge, and notice I'm missing experiences up here. Experience and skills right there. It's got load, save, so we can load the game, we can save the game, We got values for fight, speak, eat, and look. And we could add more of these later for different commands. And down here is our threat meter, which is currently set to none. Okay guys, I'm going to show you an example of here of how the character set data is working. As I've already worked out like how the values work, by reading the A, by reading any of these, it's reading in the A. And that's just going over here and adding in the result to get to that correct character set. So if it's adding 31 here, it's actually skipping over a lot of other characters to find character 31. Since the next character in line here after you add 122 plus 8 would be the capital letter A. So you go through the whole alphabet before you get to actually the number sign, which is what this one is. And then these are all the rest of the characters we saw earlier. So let's move over there for a second. Okay, so we're back on Camtasia Studio here, and I wanted to demonstrate what's really going on here. As I go over here to the desktop, this is an editor you can use to write basic and assembly language programs in, by the way. So what we're doing here is we're going to go ahead and we would click on this one right here, although I already have one up here, so I'm just going to pull the one up I currently have up so we don't lose that. And you'll notice that this right here is the character for the man that was you seen earlier on the screen. That's how the man was created. Now, I don't have them all here since this one was started over, but there's the rock right there. But this is essentially how you would create your own graphics. Now, here's the cool thing about this. Once you have a graphic character, let's say you want to be able to produce the results of the data from this man and any other data you have, you just go up here to character set, and you go to export, and then you go to preview, and you'll see it says character data generation. Just leave it to basic data and hit OK, and I'll move it over here. And you'll see it generated some data statements that you can actually use for your program. Don't forget to put the number in front first where you want it, because that's going to read in that correct character, and then from there you have the data afterward. So if I had more time, I'd probably show you how this works here, but essentially you can just click in here like that and you can draw stuff. If you wanted to go here, you could change the colors and whatnot, and kind of start drawing in your colors. You set multicolor here. Then you see it kind of changed to multicolor there already, and you can start picking up the multicolor characters and start using them, which are over here, of course. But that'll be for another session. Okay, so as we continue forward here, I'll give you more examples on that to try to make that a little bit more clear. And also, eventually this will be on the website, so that should establish even more clarity for you. So don't forget C64brain.com. Okay, so next here, I have isolated some other lines to kind of show you what's going on here in this little example here. So this right here at the top, this is going to read in from m equals 1 to 23 here. And if I go down here just with my cursor to show you, it's actually starting at this line right here because it's reading in the string variable of m strings, which goes from 1 all the way up to 23. So there's 23 I have because this is creating the levels here. And this right here is reading 30 because there's 30 characters here, and I'll demonstrate that here in a second. From here, we're just going to change the color to keep our default color to 2. And then here's where it's going to get a little bit interesting. So this right here is called mid. It stands for middle. It's reading the middle string of M. And this is reading the value, so we're pointing at the correct value each time because we're looping through what's called a nested loop. As we're going through the first loop, this is going to be a 1. And this is going to be a 1 because we hit this one the first time. So it's m strings 1, comma 1, comma 1. And it's going to say equal to number sign. And right here, this number sign is, if you remember earlier, that's the wall that we created for our redefined character set. And it's going to basically change the color. But I don't think I need that first one here, so I'll probably remove that. The next one here is doing the same thing, except it's reading the percentage sign. And this is the top of the tree. And it changes the color for the tree. And this one goes down to the bottom of the tree and reads the color, and so on. It's just going through. This is the man character, the 2 right here, to create the 2 different values. Or actually, that's not the man, I'm sorry. This is the rock. There was like a rock on the screen, and there was something else. The man character's right here, actually, the quote, and this one. And this prints it out on the screen here. So it's just taking this value and just reading it back out. This right here says next, go back here. Once it hits the next loop here, this is going to change to 2. And I'll start going down here to read the next character in line, which would be this one too. And I'll start reading this line across. And then next it's going to hit the print and the next. So it's going to pick up the next one here. So it's for L equals 1 to 30. And so every time it's going over here, it's going to keep moving over every time. So let's demonstrate that here with an example. Okay, so I created a little example to show you what I'm talking about here. So I printed out the middle string here, reading from M strings 1, 1, and you'll notice as soon as I did that, it's already reading off the first character, so it's reading off of that. Now if we continue on, I can show you more of what's going on here. We'll change this value right here, the second parameter, which is going to make it read more of that value. So you'll see now it read the number sign here, and if we continue to do that, you'll see different values appearing. You're going to see nothing but a bunch of numbers in this one. So since it's also, as I mentioned earlier here, it's equal to 30, remember for L equals 1 to 30, we're going to change this to 30 at the end here to read the full thing. So this is how it prints the whole thing. But remember, it's going for L equals 1 all the way up to 30. So it's just printing this across the screen until it reads through here. And that's just so it can read the appropriate colors into the string. Just a simple example I created. And if we change this here, I'll erase this to show you. We change this to 2, and we set this to like 1, 1, it'll start reading down the next line. So it's essentially reading this one. So if we set this to read a certain area, let's say like, I don't know, 6 or something maybe, you'll see it read the next character in line. Now we could also make it pick off of this and just read that only. I'll show you how that works here. So I erase this, and we'll keep this one at 6, but we're going to read over 6, 7, 8. So we're going to set this to 6, 8, and you'll see, well, actually I did something wrong here. Oh, I had probably those, not sure what I did there, 6, 7, 8, and it seemed to read way more than that for some reason. Let's see, oh, because this is counting how many read over, so this will be 3, so it's counting to 3. So if I change this, it's counting to read over 3. I just had that backward. So this is kind of the length here, right here, and this right here is just kind of reading the character individually. So you could see, you could currently continue to play with it and move it to where you want it to go. So if this is 3, then we could say we want to get, let's say we want to read from these right here. We'd have to count from where that is. So we know this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's try 14 and playing with the 3 or something like that. Or we could just do like 5 or something. See? Now it's reading from here to there. So that's how the middle string values work. It's really, really cool because you can use it to pull information right out of strings. Let's continue. Okay, so I threw the listing back up on the screen to show you where we're left off here. So here, after we've done through reading our whole, and it draws the whole thing on the screen there, we're going to essentially move on to the next part here, which is going to print our characters. If you remember earlier from the PP strings, that's homing the cursor, moving it down 3, and moving it over. So it's always going to find the position over here. And then this is where we're going to plot in all of our statistical data from our skill. I'm sorry, right here it says, this prints at the top here first. Oh, no, I'm sorry, no, this is it. So this is going to print the dexterity, the intelligence, the skill, potion, knowledge, the load, and the save is right here. And then our values, our commands, fight, speak, eat, look. And this is going to print our threat meter. Pretty standard. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much it for this one. Like I said, it's just a graphics example. You can follow it along. Like I said, once I put the link on my website, hopefully that'll be a little bit more easier to understand, including understanding how the machine language data works. And you'll see there's the whole map. And of course, if we run it, you'll see the map printing on the screen. Section by section, line by line, and so forth. Okay, I paused it to show you, but now you can see everything's printed up on the screen, and we got all of our values right here. And again, these are just reading in that home cursor down 3 and position it over here to just kind of read them down the line there. So guys, I want to thank you for having joined me today. I hope you learned something in this session. You can always leave me comments if you're still confused about something. That is my goal here. I'm trying to get the website pages created as soon as possible, although I am a very busy person. And between doing 2 different websites from the Commodore 64 to the Atari 65XC, I'm also, of course, doing the YouTube, and at the same time also trying to learn myself electronics currently, so I'm just got some new passions going on. But I'll try to get back with you as appropriately. So in this session we covered, obviously, creating graphics characters on the screen by moving character set from ROM to RAM so we could overwrite it easily. and then get characters up on the screen pretty much. So thanks for watching. As always, I appreciate your subscriptions, and maybe I'll see you at VidCon. If not, you guys have a great day.